Coulrophobia is the irrational fear of clowns. Seeing or even thinking about clowns can cause extreme anxiety for those afflicted. While many people are aware it exists, most associate aversion to clowns with small children. For example, in horror lore, Pennywise the dancing clown is one form of an evil entity that preys upon and terrorizes kids. Coincidentally, this is the character whose image is tattooed on the neck of our first subject, Adam Montgomery. We don't know why Adam chose to tattoo an image of a predatory child killer on his neck, but we do know two things. No one has seen or heard from his 5-year-old daughter Harmony since November 2019, and, according to police reports, Adam was the last known person to see her alive. This is 5-year-old Harmony Montgomery, an adorable young girl with a heart as big as her smile. She was born blind in the right eye, requiring her to wear glasses, but that never prevented her from offering a warm hug to anyone she came across. Although Harmony was last seen in Manchester, New Hampshire in late 2019, she was not reported missing until after Christmas 2021. On the surface, this is a missing person case, but below the surface, it is about red flags, missed opportunities, and the human cost of a community's failure to sufficiently protect its children's welfare. There are three principal figures in this matter, and they are as follows. Adam Montgomery, Harmony's biological father. Crystal Sorey, Harmony's biological mother, and Kayla Montgomery, Adam's wife, stepmother to Harmony, and with whom Adam has 3 children in common. Let's dive in. Adam was born on January 22, 1990. He grew up in New Hampshire with his 2 brothers, Kevin and Michael. He's known by friends and associates as Ace, but that's not because of his academic accomplishments. He attended but did not complete high school and earned a GED later on. Substance abuse and violence have been the 2 main themes in his life. Adam has a history of encounters with police dating as far back as 12 years old. His charges include assault, burglary, stalking, drug use, gun-related crimes, and attempted murder. According to the U.S. Sun and Boston 25 News, then 18-year-old Adam was named as the primary suspect in the unsolved murder of 28-year-old Darlene Guzman. Guzman was found dead from multiple gunshot wounds on February 10, 2008. However, there was insufficient evidence to bring charges against Adam. Later that year, according to police records, he broke into an apartment armed with a pellet gun and held 2 occupants at gunpoint. He demanded money from them. When officers arrived, Adam pointed the gun at one of the officers. He was eventually restrained and arrested. He pleaded guilty to armed robbery and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. In August of 2012, a 22-year-old Adam entered into a relationship with the then 20-year-old Crystal Renee Sorey of Lowell, Massachusetts. Crystal had a rough upbringing. She was raised by drug-addicted parents who were frequently in and out of jail. Unfortunately, the cycle of substance abuse continued with her. Crystal is on record saying she and Adam struggled with addiction during their time together. According to a formal accusation, on the night of January 24, 2014, with Crystal 6 months pregnant, Adam went out looking to score drugs. A disagreement ensued with the other party, and it allegedly resulted in Adam pulling out a firearm and shooting Robert Jacobs in the head. Jacobs' brother was on the scene and returned fire, hitting Adam in the arm. Adam was apprehended by U.S. Marshals 4 days later in Manchester. He was indicted on armed assault with the intent to murder and was denied bail. In March, he was sentenced to 18 months in the Middleton House of Corrections. 3 months later, on June 7, 2014, Crystal gave birth to Harmony. With Adam incarcerated, Crystal's mother sick in a nursing home, and no support system, Crystal described herself as essentially homeless. She was seeking assistance from women's shelters. As such, Harmony bounced between her mother's care and the Department of Children, Youth, and Families for much of her young life. Eventually, Crystal's problems overwhelmed her, and in January 2018, she lost custody of Harmony to the state for the third and final time. After his release from prison in 2015, Adam moved on to a new relationship. He met and married Kayla Rivera, and they would eventually have 3 children in common. They lived in a home on 77 Guilford Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. The house was owned by Adam's grandmother, and he was paying rent to her. In August 2018, Adam met with his then 4-year-old daughter, Harmony, for the first time in 11 months and just the 9th time overall. In February of 2019, Adam petitioned the Massachusetts Family Court for physical and legal custody of Harmony. The judge in the case granted custody to Adam and ruled that he was fit to parent, despite his previously being convicted of shooting a man during a drug deal and of a separate attack on 2 women. Additionally, the judge waived the usual prerequisite for an in-home visit from officials. Information is now public that the Massachusetts Department of Children, Youth, and Families had requested the New Hampshire Department of Children and Families to inspect Montgomery's home 2 months before the judgment. However, that assessment was never done. At that time, Kayla added Harmony to her SNAP benefits account and received an additional $129 monthly in benefits. Crystal eventually regained sobriety and made several attempts to contact her daughter. Finally, around Easter 2019, Crystal had a video chat with Harmony. She claimed she could see Adam in the background. It was the last time Crystal saw her daughter alive. After that, she was surprised to learn that her cell phone and all her social media accounts were blocked by Adam. Meanwhile, 2 months later, Crystal's son by another father is placed with the Millers, a pre-adoptive family. In July 2019, an anonymous complaint was made to the DCF regarding the Montgomerys. The caller made allegations of abuse and said Harmony had a black eye when the caller visited recently. A child protective service worker visited the house and emailed Manchester police to say no eye injury was observed. Harmony's uncle Kevin admitted that, out of concern for the welfare of Harmony, it was he who contacted the DCF. 1 month later, a CPS worker revisits 77 Guilford Street and interviews Harmony, Adam, and Kayla. This time, the worker notes a red mark on Harmony's eye and a contusion under her eyelid. When asked, Adam said the bruise happened when a sibling accidentally struck Harmony in the face with a toy. According to documents reviewed by the U.S. Sun, there were at least 16 occasions since January 2019 when police responded to complaints at the Montgomery home. Among the reports were alleged verbal domestic fights, concerns of suspected child abuse and animal abuse, and the home's condition. On one occasion in October, Harmony was physically seen by police during a call for service. During another police call in late November, a neighbor informed the police the Montgomery house had actually been foreclosed on in August. The family refused to leave and were essentially squatting. U.S. Marshals were coming to the home and leaving notices. The neighbor states she went away for Thanksgiving break, and when she returned, the Montgomerys were no longer there. Police discovered the family was evicted from the property on November 27, 2019. According to authorities, multiple individuals reported seeing Harmony with Adam and Kayla in the days that followed. However, between December 6th and December 10th of 2019, the couple was seen only with the 2 children they shared in common at the time, not Harmony. Kayla's mother said during that time, Kayla approached her, said they were homeless, and asked if they could stay at her place. The mother stated Harmony was not a part of that conversation. Kayla's mother said she couldn't accommodate them. According to witnesses, Adam, Kayla, and the other 2 children were living out of cars. One was a silver 2010 Chrysler Sebring, and the other a dark blue 2006 Audi S4. During Harmony's absence, the Millers, the family who adopted Crystal's son, repeatedly inquired about her whereabouts, including on Harmony's birthday in June 2020. Each time, Crystal told them she could not reach Harmony or Adam as he had blocked all contact. This pattern continued over the next year. Meanwhile, in March of 2021, Kayla and her now 3 kids moved into her mother's apartment due to domestic violence from Adam. On July 28th, Crystal left a comment on social media that read, "She's not quite missing. Her father has her and hasn't let me see her or talk to her in 2 years. For no reason, just to hurt me. She's in Manchester, New Hampshire somewhere, and I need to find her." In September 2021, a person close to Crystal contacted DCF and raised concerns that Crystal had not seen Harmony since 2019. DCF confirmed Harmony had never been registered for school in Manchester and attempted to locate the Montgomery family. The DCF relayed their prior addresses to the Manchester Police Department, but the police could not find Adam or Harmony. On December 27, 2021, the Manchester Police Department initiated an investigation and spoke with several family members. This was when police learned Harmony had not been physically seen by anyone since late November 2019. 3 days later, detectives talked to Kevin Montgomery, Harmony's uncle. He said he had not seen Adam or Harmony since late 2019. He told police about the black eye he saw in Harmony and how Adam said he bashed Harmony around the house, forced her to scrub the toilet with her toothbrush, and stand in the corner for hours during a drug relapse. Police subsequently began a full-scale search for Adam Montgomery. The next day, Kayla Montgomery was interviewed by detectives. She said the last time she saw Harmony was sometime in November or December of 2019. She claimed she saw her with Adam one morning before going to work. He told her he was driving Harmony to Lowell, Massachusetts to drop her off with her mother. She believed Harmony was returned to Crystal. Kayla stated she never saw or heard from Harmony again after that day. A few hours later, patrol officers located Adam and his new girlfriend, Kelsey Small, sleeping in a vehicle in Manchester. It appeared they were living out of the car.
What's your name, my man?
What?
Adam.
This police body cam video obtained by News 9 Investigates was taken on December 31st, 2021, the day Manchester police announced a missing persons investigation for Harmony Montgomery.
On top of your head.
What's going on now?
This was the first interaction between Adam Montgomery and Manchester police after officers located him sleeping in a car in Manchester's Wolf Park. In the video, officers ask Montgomery about his daughter's whereabouts.
You just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of. Okay. You have no warrants. Okay. So, where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay?
Right now, I have nothing to say to you guys.
But that's not what I'm just asking where she is.
I have nothing to say.
The interaction lasts about 45 minutes before Montgomery is sent on his way. Police track Montgomery down again later that day, serving him with a court order to produce Harmony.
Some detectives want to speak with you.
In a roadside conversation, Small told detectives she was aware Adam had 4 children but was not in touch with them. She added that he never mentioned Harmony, and she knew nothing of that situation. Adam told detectives Harmony was fine and even claimed he had seen Harmony recently. Yet, as the conversation continued, Adam contradicted his and Kayla's statements by saying he had not seen Harmony since Crystal came to pick her up in Manchester in November 2019. One officer noted Adam displayed very little emotion to the news that Harmony had been missing for 2 years. Officers filed a report, and Adam was not detained at that time. On January 4th, 2022, police, assisted by the FBI, used canines to search the property at 77 Guilford Street. They thoroughly searched the house and even dug through the backyard, but came up empty. While authorities searched the house, Adam was arrested in Manchester. He was charged with 1 count of felony second-degree assault, 1 count of interference with custody, and 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child. The charges were related to his alleged 2019 conduct against Harmony, in which she sustained a black eye. With Adam now in custody, he was interrogated by detectives.
We might be able to work on that if we just turn this on. This is audio and video recorded. You alright with that?
Nope.
Okay. We'll do our best to try to get you the cigarette.
Yeah, we got cigarettes somewhere, so try to work on that, okay? Before we have any conversations, I'm just gonna have you read something, okay?
Before we go forward, can we get a cigarette in here?
So, there's a sensor in there, so I'll work on getting you a cigarette at some point. I can't promise you one right now, just because the room we're in, and if this starts going off, I don't want to
But
flood the building, you know what I mean?
It's like they're gonna go off.
That thing will, the sprinkler, so, but at some point, we'll work on getting you. I know we have cigarettes in here, I know where they are, okay? You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you need a water?
I don't need nothing.
You good? Okay. Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay.
Okay. What's not okay?
Nothing. What's up?
Alright. So I'm just gonna ask you some basic questions. You said you can read and write English, correct?
Sure.
Alright. Can you just state your full name for me?
Adam Montgomery.
And Adam, what's your birthday?
12290.
And what address are you using to
I'm
call?
not using any.
Okay. What phone number are you using?
I don't have one.
Okay. What was the highest level of education?
GED.
Okay. Where'd you graduate high school from?
I did. I got a GED.
No, but I know, but like, where'd you get
While I
that?
was incarcerated.
Okay. Right now, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Okay. Do you have any traumatic brain injuries or anything like that? Anything that prohibits you from recalling any memories or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
Alright. So we've met before, right? We met the other day. I know you've had a long time down here. You've kind of been a roller coaster. I'm going to apologize for what happened out there. That's not how I do business, okay? That had nothing to do with me. Those are guys that like to play G.I. Joe, alright? If it had been up to me and I could have gotten a hold of you some way, I would have reached out to you. But you don't have a phone, right?
You guys could have just told my wife she wanted me to come in.
But aren't you not supposed to be talking to your wife?
No, that's bullshit.
It's not. You're not supposed to?
No, I can't be.
Thank you, look at that.
I can't be.
I guess they're going to let you smoke a cigarette here. They must have talked to somebody.
So I don't know why who's saying I can't talk to my wife because that's bullshit.
Maybe it's some old paperwork that somebody saw.
Yeah, from last year, but it was over and done with after I got out of jail.
So that's all clear.
DCYF said it was cleared up, the police said it was cleared up, everybody said it was cleared. They said that there was no contact order between me and her.
Okay, and that's Petal we're talking about. Okay. Well, you know what? If that's the case, then that's my fault for maybe not checking a little bit further into it. So I apologize for that. Again, I apologize for the way things went down out there. Like I said, I'm not part of the SWAT team. I don't do that stuff. If I had a good number for you, I would have just called you in. But I don't have you don't have a phone, you said, right? Okay. So I apologize for that. I do appreciate you being cooperative with me. You've never given me a hard time. I know we've only met a few times, so thank you for that. Let's talk about why we're here to talk.
Tell me what you want to say.
Tell me what you know.
I don't know nothing.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day?
You said you had a couple questions you wanted to ask me. You asked me the questions.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day? Remember we met, I mean, you remember that was only, what, a few days ago, right? We got a lot of worried people and scared people right now in the community. I know you're worried about the well-being of your daughter, and I kind of want to get ahead of this because I don't want you to be painted as a monster.
Well, that's what you guys are already doing.
I am?
No, we're not.
Oh, yeah.
Can you explain that to me?
That's what you guys are already trying to do, man.
Explain to me how I'm trying to make you, or whoever is trying to make you out to be a monster. Who's telling you that stuff? Is there somebody that I work with that told you that? Somebody you're close with, that they told you that?
No. Mm.
All right. Well, you understand this whole thing is getting a little out of hand, would you agree?
Of course. But
So that's why,
no, it's just the way you guys are going about it.
and again,
Yeah,
I don't
not you specifically, but
Right.
yeah, nobody comes out there like that for a second-degree assault charge. Nobody. Been arrested for worse charges. They don't come out and throw fucking flashbangs at my girlfriend's car and ram us into the fucking guardrail. They don't do that for a second-degree assault charge.
again, you understand what the charges are, right?
Second-degree assault, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's also an endangering the welfare charge.
Okay.
and interference with custody. Okay,
So how did I interfere with custody?
So that paperwork that we served you the other day, you remember that?
Okay.
When they were in the alleyway, remember outside of on Lake Ave?
Yeah.
There's paperwork that you have to comply with. You understand that, right? We had that conversation, did we not? Right? So that's what that's all about.
So second degree assault charge, what is this referring to?
Well, that's what we want to talk to you about.
Well, explain to me, if I'm being charged with it, what the hell am I being charged with it for?
Well, your daughter had some injuries
What?
that you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say.
We talked about how we were worried about your daughter the other day, right?
Okay.
You remember that conversation?
I remember that conversation, but right off the rip, with the way you're approaching the conversation, you guys are completely out of line. So.
Me?
Yeah.
Do I? In the time that you've known me, which
what you just said to me, you guys are completely out of line.
Okay, but so explain to me, how are we out of line?
I have nothing to explain.
Okay, but wouldn't you rather explain it so we can make sense of it than just have other people's side of the story? Like, you want to defend yourself and like this picture people are painting of you, now's your chance, man. Defend.
Whose side of the story? Who's telling you these things?
People that were close to you.
Obviously not.
Well, maybe at the time, maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that reward on the news, right?
No, I did not.
Do you know that the reward is about $40,000 to find where your daughter is right now?
Okay.
When you start throwing money around like that, people come out of the woodwork that you would never expect to do.
Okay.
So, like I said, when I talked to you a few days ago.
Can I have another cigarette?
Sure. I kind of told you this thing was going to get a lot bigger.
That's not right.
And we wanted to get ahead of it.
But you're sitting there telling me that right off the rip that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. So if your daughter had marks on her at some point when you lived over there, how would you explain those?
How would she get those marks?
Well, I would love to know when that marks were there because DCYF came to my house multiple times.
Okay. And we know that they came there.
Right. And closed the case.
Okay. Do we know that DCYF is the flagship agency in the country?
No, but if there was significant marks like you're referring to, I believe they would have flagged something at that point and they would have said something. They wouldn't have came there and seen that the kids were well taken care of. All the kids loved being at the house with me.
So let me tell you about what second degree assault is. Because there's a lot that encompasses that charge. Basically, if there's a mark on a kid that's under a certain age, it constitutes second degree assault. Although it is a felony, which sounds extremely intimidating, it doesn't mean that somebody got their head bashed in or they got cut up or whatever. So, although it sounds pretty intimidating, the charge, I understand that. What we're talking about doesn't mean that it's the craziest crime that's ever been committed. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay.
So, somebody could have a bruise or a really bad welt on them, and that would constitute second degree assault for a kid under a specific age. So that's why that charge is there. So nobody is saying that you took like a baseball bat or like stabbed your kid. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. That is not what anybody's saying about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're concerned with when I say second degree assault, but it sounds a lot worse than I think you're thinking it is. Are we kind of on the same page?
Yeah, but for you to sit there and say that it was inflicted because of me.
We're just going on what we hear. You're not telling us how it happened, so we're going with what we have.
But I don't even know what you're referring to. What are you referring to?
Your daughter had a mark on her face that people, multiple people, have told us was inflicted by you.
Multiple people that weren't even living with us at the time.
Well, there was enough people that had spoken about it.
Yeah.
People share knowledge of what they know.
So somebody, you telling him, and then he tells you, and then he tells you, so something that just gets passed down the line.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like a game of telephone here. I'm saying that people say a story and then the details kind of fill themselves in, like corroborate. Do you know what the word corroborate means?
Of course I do.
Okay. You're a smart guy. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but when people kind of fill in the blanks, that's what I mean by like we're corroborating that story. But this is your time to tell me, kind of explain that. You know, if you're saying this was a mistake or this was an accident.
I don't even know what you're referring to. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at, is I don't even know what you're referring to.
I'm saying she had a mark on her face. I mean,
I don't even know what you're referring to.
You don't recall your daughter ever having a mark on her face?
The reason DCYF came out to visit you guys, you don't recall that? Why did DCYF come out and start visiting you guys? What was the allegation?
If I remember correctly, it was because of, I believe at the time, I could be wrong, I believe it had something to do with my uncle saying I was using drugs, and I wasn't.
Now, who's your uncle, so we are clear?
Kevin.
Okay. And Kevin's last name?
Montgomery.
Now, he lived there with you?
He lived there with me right around the time when I was first going back to get custody from my daughter.
Okay.
And then he left in April, May, March, something around that time.
And just so I have it right, because I don't want to guess or like get confused, what house are we talking about?
Guilford Street.
All right, and what was the number there again?
I'm not 100%.
Okay. Do you remember what color the house was at least?
Beige, maybe.
Okay. And whose house was that originally?
My grandmother's.
All right. And grandma is who?
Kevin's mother.
Kevin's mother.
My dad's mother.
Okay. So was it the Montgomery group living over on Guilford Street?
Yeah, and they all moved out. My grandmother moved out in like January with my little brother, and they all moved down to Florida, and then Kevin went a couple months later.
And so grandma, uncle Kevin, you said little brother, and who's he?
My father's son, Michael.
So Michael, that's what I meant. Like, what's his first name?
Yeah, and his girlfriend.
And his girlfriend. And is he still with that same girl now?
I have no idea.
Oh, so you don't talk to Michael anymore?
No.
Okay. What was that girl's name at the time? Because maybe she could help us to say that, like, this is...
Kayla, I believe.
So Michael's girlfriend's name was Kayla at the time? And you dated a Kayla at the time?
Yeah.
So it kind of got confusing in the house if somebody's yelling for Kayla?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was Kayla? Kayla you were with at the time was...
My wife.
Okay, Montgomery. And then Kayla he was with is...
I have no
idea who she was. Okay, so there was Grandma and Kevin, they moved out in when?
Grandma moved out in like...
I'm just trying to think of people we can talk to.
I'm
like,
trying to figure it out.
I'm
trying to figure it out to go back. Like, I think we moved over. Thank you. I think we moved over there. I think we moved over there in like, I don't know, October, September, somewhere around then.
And what year is that?
2018.
Okay.
And at the time, I was going for custody for my daughter for at least a year already at that point. And Crystal was showing no interest of going to get our daughter back. So finally, in like, I don't know, December, January, February, something along them lines, courts called me, told me I could come pick her up and bring her home. Brought her home. And then, I don't know, it was, I think the month before, my grandmother left with my brother and his girlfriend, and then the month after, I want to say, Kevin left.
So then who was left living at the house?
Me, Kayla, and the kids.
In that time period, I don't know which kids were born yet and who was.
It was Declan and Seamus.
Okay, and
then Harmony moved in with us.
Okay. So what time did DCYF get involved with you guys? Like, were they over there often, or was it just like a certain period of time? Or
they were there every single day. The police showed up every single day, saying
why were they
because that's what it was. That's what it was due. That's what it was due to. So Kevin moved out because between me and my wife and Kevin, we were supposed to like pay the bills, keep the heat on, the gas on, whatever. Well, Kevin was supposed to pay the electric bill. He didn't pay the electric bill. Me and my wife, I picked my wife from work and showed up at home. They were shutting the electricity off. So me and Kevin got into an argument about not paying the bill.
Yeah.
And he took his shit and moved out. And then so the next day, or 2 days later, something like that, I don't know, DCYF showed up and the police showed up because they said that we were unfit to have the children at the house because there was no electricity in the house.
Okay.
But we had a generator running, we had the fridge hooked up to it, there was food in the fridge, everything was fine. The police showed up, seen that the kids was fine, there was nothing wrong with them. The DCYF showed up and they left.
And was that like summer, fall? Like when was that?
I want to say maybe spring, going into summer maybe.
Oh, okay. So like, you guys hadn't been there for too long then.
6 months or so.
Okay. And how did it end up that you guys got kicked out of there?
All right, so it was my grandmother's house.
Right.
They didn't pay the mortgage or whatever. They moved to Florida, so the mortgage payments weren't being paid. And I don't know, right around Thanksgiving sometimes, the sheriffs came and threw us out. And then me, Harmony, and Declan, Seamus, and Kayla left.
And where the heck did you guys go from there?
We were in our car.
Oh, so you lived in your car at that time?
For a couple of days.
Okay.
And then
did you have like a van or something like that back then at least? What were you driving back then?
Chrysler of some kind, I forget.
Oh, so it was just like a sedan?
A car sedan, yeah.
Okay, so you're living in the car, so you, Kayla, and the 3 kids were living in the car for a few days, and then how'd you get up out of that situation? Like who took you in, or where'd you guys end up?
We ended up going to our mom's house, Kayla's mom's house.
Okay, and what's her name?
Chris.
Chris, how's she? Well, I mean, she must be okay. Is she willing to take you guys in?
Yeah. All right. They're like, all right. I. You know what, man? Like, I don't even want to talk anymore. Like, this is just beating around the bush, man. It just seems a little too silly to me.
Well, I'm trying to figure out who can substantiate your claims that there's like you're not this like monster of a person that either DCYF made you out to be, or your family who you didn't get along with, or whoever. So that's why I'm trying to like let you kind of speak your piece about all that shit. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. I just got nothing else to say, man. And like, no, yeah, and like, I just don't want to sit there and like, can I smoke another butt?
Sure. I'll be honest, I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm a little lightheaded myself.
I just know I
know, it's
smoked butts for a minute.
That's all good.
But But yeah, no.
Yeah.
But to sit there, man, and sit there and tell me you yourself too, like, this is why I feel like it's just all bullshit. This is just a game. I know it is. I'm not stupid. You fucking.
I'm just trying to give you the opportunity to explain yourself.
You're sitting here telling me not to make me out to look like some monster.
Well,
but
no,
you told my girlfriend the other day that she should get the fuck away from me. That you don't even know who I am and what my past is like and all types of crazy shit. Like, but sit there and look me in my face.
Adam, I think you're talking about Kelsey.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Kelsey might be exaggerating a little bit.
Right.
I don't know her to exaggerate like that.
It wasn't us talking to Kelsey either.
Oh,
there was other people talking to her, just so you know.
She told me, she gave me your card and said this was the guy that said it.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you that I didn't say that. But if you want to believe it, that's fine.
I mean, she never had no reason to lie to me. So I don't know what she would lie about at that point.
She also told me she had no idea that you had a daughter, so I guess we could say the same thing about you telling her that.
Right, well.
Right?
She knew I had a daughter. I mean, I have one with Kayla, so she knew I had a daughter.
She didn't know about Harmony.
She knew I had other kids.
She told me she had no idea that you ever lived with her and that you barely knew her. I don't know if she was lying to me or whatever. I have no idea. I don't know her. I know you better than her, so that's what I'm saying. So Christina takes you guys in, and she's doing all right, and then would you guys move over to Union Street after that? Is that when you guys get that spot?
Nope, we go to the shelter.
And that's the one on...
yeah.
Okay.
Who's we? Who went to the shelter? They allowed you to go as a family to the shelter?
See, I thought they didn't let guys there for some reason.
They always let guys there. They didn't let me there this time for no reason. Their reason was bullshit, because I would have been there with Kayla again.
So back then they let you in there.
Yeah.
And it was all of you guys, it was the five of you, they let you guys stay there?
No. All right, so yeah, you guys are just...
I'm trying to understand. I don't know your timeline of life, man. You're there, I'm not. That's why I'm trying to ask you these questions to clarify them.
I already told you the other day what transpired. So we didn't even go to her mother's house.
Okay. Who didn't go to her mother's house?
Harmony was on.
Okay, so Harmony didn't go to Chris's house. So explain to me how she didn't end up going to Chris's house.
I've already explained this to you.
Okay.
Well, there's some discrepancies between what you're telling us and what other people are telling us. You're saying you brought her down to Mass, that somebody said she came up from Mass.
I never once said I brought her down to Mass.
What did you say? She came up here to get her?
I never once said. I was audio and video recorded the other day. I never once said I went down to Mass.
So you're saying that she came up from Mass?
I'm not saying anything else.
Why is it that you refuse to talk about her every time we bring her up?
Because you guys are just sitting here beating a bush. It's over and over. You guys asked me what happened the other day. I told you what happened.
You wouldn't tell us the other day.
You guys talked to me the other day. I explained to him what happened the other day. And now... It was just a charade. Yep, no, don't worry about it. You're not under arrest, and I'll come up with some fucking bullshit.
We didn't arrest you.
No, the other day, no. But then you had a fucking SWAT team roll up on me, and the fucking D-Techs follow me around for the last 3 days.
Yeah, people are coming out of the woodwork. That's what we're trying to tell you. We don't want you to be painted as a monster. We want you to maybe explain yourself a little bit and give us some side of your story. We have nothing. We have just what we're hearing from people. $40,000 to drag a lot of people out, whether you believe you're your friends or not.
No, I bet
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know it is. Absolutely it is.
That's what we're trying to get. Now's your time. You keep locking up on us. You don't want to tell us anything about her.
No, I got nothing else to say.
I think you care
about all my kids.
Right. But the one I care the most about is your daughter, Harmony. And we have people around the clock calling into us, giving us tips from all over the country because they care too to try to find where she is. My only goal, which I told you the other day, is to make sure that she's safe. I don't want you to get tied into something if you didn't do anything wrong. My job is not to jam somebody up for something that they didn't do wrong. And if you can tell me that you didn't do anything wrong, then I want to believe you because, dude, I've met you now a few times. I helped you out when you were at the hospital when you were having a fucking meltdown. You told me about your kids.
I sat there and I talked to you, dude, I could have fucking tased you right there, and I didn't do that because I saw deep down inside that you were hurting and that I wanted to help you. Right now, all I'm trying to do is help your daughter. I want to bring her home, and I can't do that without your help. Dude, I can't do that without your help. Hey, can you look at me? Help me, please. That's all I'm asking for. I can't sleep until I know that she's okay. And I know that you know where she is or what happened to her, but I can't do it without your help. And if you don't want to look like this fucking animal, because I don't think you are. Not that I don't think you are, I know you aren't. But I can only do so much for you, man.
I know.
I'm begging you to help me. Because as much as you're hurting inside, I'm also hurting inside. And I don't know how you can sleep at night because I'm sure it's eating the shit out of you. Am I wrong?
No, it's eating me apart. I know I'm not fucking seeing my wife. I'm not seeing my kids. You guys are just playing games. Like, this is just...
Dude, but I'm not trying...
We're not trying to play games again, man.
Good.
Like...
telling my wife and kids that I'm not allowed to see my wife and kids. Like...
But dude, that was a mistake from some court paperwork that hadn't been updated. So like I said, I apologize for that.
But it was updated. DCYF told them...
No. This was some like DV paperwork I'm talking about.
But I'm talking about DCYF already told us multiple times that there was no contact order.
Maybe through DCYF, but
it could have been through DCYF.
Yeah.
So let's fucking forget about it.
Right,
you've seen your wife and kids over the last how many days, right?
I haven't seen them in the last I haven't seen my kids in the last 2 days, 3 days.
Okay. You're always going to be their father? Declan, Seamus, and then Sierra, right? Kiera. And then there's Harmony.
I got nothing else to say. That's it. That's it, guys. I got nothing else to say.
Can you make me a promise? Like, man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other day.
No, it's not word games.
I got nothing else
to say. Because we care, man. We want to know.
This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like, this isn't gonna stop. So
no, no, it's not.
So either get on the bus now or get run over.
Well, I got nothing else to say.
Why is it you have so much trouble talking about Harmony?
Guys, I got nothing else to say. I want a lawyer with me.
I'm going to leave this copy of this ex parte or it's a petition from DCYF. You can read it later sometime. I'll put it in your property. It's basically the same thing you got the other day. It's just a little more detailed that we handed you. It does say that you're ordered to help us locate Harmony, but you're telling us you're not going to do that.
I'm just telling you guys I want a lawyer.
Right. It is 9:25.
Two days after Adam was questioned, Kayla was arrested on one count of felony welfare fraud. The charge alleges that Kayla continued to receive over $1,500 in food stamp benefits in Harmony's name after she acknowledged Harmony was no longer in the household. This charge is later dropped and replaced by a new felony theft charge. On March 22nd, Kelsey Small, who had been with Adam for over a year and stated he had never discussed Harmony, was found dead in a hotel room in Manchester. She did not face charges concerning the Montgomery case. According to police, her death is not considered suspicious. Her cause of death has not been made public. On June 3, 2022, detectives caught a break. Kayla is arrested on perjury charges. She's accused of lying during grand jury testimony about her location when Harmony was last seen and accounted for. Facing 3.5 to 7 years in prison on these charges, she decides it's in her best interests to cooperate. According to a local media outlet, Kayla provided detectives with credible new information which led them to an apartment she once shared with Adam. 10 days later, authorities searched the apartment. Investigators were assisted by a sewer plumbing team and at one point were observed hauling a refrigerator out. On August 11th, just weeks after the apartment was searched, New Hampshire Attorney General John Formella held a press conference to provide an update on the case.
Back in January, we announced that then 5-year-old Harmony likely disappeared sometime between November 28th and December 10th of 2019. Since that announcement, members of my office, members of the Manchester Police Department, the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI, and other law enforcement partners have been diligently continuing to work this case. In total, these agencies working together have devoted thousands of hours gathering evidence and pursuing numerous leads. All of these efforts have led us to conclude that Harmony Montgomery was murdered in Manchester in early December of 2019. At this point, while Harmony's remains have not yet been located, we do have multiple sources of investigative information, including just recently confirmed biological evidence, that have led us to this difficult and tragic conclusion. As a result, today I am announcing that this is now officially a homicide investigation.
On October 24, 2022, Adam Montgomery was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in the death of Harmony Montgomery. According to prosecutors in New Hampshire, Kayla identified her husband as the young girl's killer. In June, she told Manchester police detectives that Adam had murdered Harmony at the Guilford Street house in December 2019. Adam allegedly beat 5-year-old Harmony to death with a closed fist and purposely altered, destroyed, concealed, or removed her body and hid it, according to court documents. Adam is currently being held without bail as he awaits trial. A trial date has not yet been set. Adam will soon have his day in court, and it will be up to a jury to decide his guilt or innocence. But what about the state child welfare system? How did investigators miss the many warning signs of abuse? Should judges, such as the one who granted Adam custody despite his violent criminal background, be held accountable for their decisions outside of impeachment? If so, what would that look like? As usual, feel free to share your thoughts below.